afternoon, all of you. So now we are with our second session today, elective endeavors. So as we all know, we all of us are having some burning questions regarding what to do and what possibilities, what opportunities are going to be disclosed through the undergraduate electives program. And today we have our remarkable brothers and sisters who have done remarkable things throughout their elective programs. And to initiate the session, I'd like to invite Pumudu Veerasekara, our own brother, to initiate the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Pumudu Veerasekara from the 2017 year batch. So I got this invitation from the MFRC headed by Vibat and the others to do a session on electives. So I was invited by MFRC and the coordinators Vibat and the others to do a session on electives because everyone had burning questions on electives because I got to know that you are supposed to do your electives next year in the early part of 2024. So what I am here is to just give you an introduction of what electives is, because even though it plays a lesser role in our faculty and in the national system, in compared to other faculties or other universities in other countries, it still plays some significant role in your career, especially as a part of your undergraduate career as well as when you progress into your postgraduates. So I'll just give you an introduction of what electives is and how you progress through the process of preparing for your elective, doing an elective, and finalizing your report. And then I have three colleagues from my own batch who have done electives both local and internationally, who will come and present about their elective projects. And there's another student from IMU Malaysia who's gonna give an experience about how her experience was coming from a foreign university and doing electives in Sri Lanka. So take note that my part of the session is basically an introduction. So I advise you not to take my elective as an example for your elective, because I'll explain to you later why I say so, because my electives has its own pros and cons. So it's better that you take the elective that was done by my three colleagues for your examples, not mine. My main session will mainly be trying to focus on the introduction, giving an introduction into electives, what are the primary goals, how to select a topic, and then making the proposal and submitting it, getting a supervisor involved, and then doing the elective, and then finalizing your report. So electives comes under your clinical sciences stream. So basically it accumulates to only around 1 mark out of your entire clinical sciences stream, but it takes a lot of your time in your final like 4th year or so, accounting for around 4 weeks. So its main goal, its primary goal is to mainly inculcate things that are not in the undergraduate medical curriculum, so that you can progress beyond, so that you can inculcate stuff from your postgraduate interests and do that under your undergraduate curriculum, so that you know what you are going to do in the future. And it also acts as a stimulator for teamwork, because you are supposed to do this in forms of groups of 2 or 3. And this 3 comes under special circumstances. I'll explain that further. Usually it's in groups of 2, but in special cases you can go for groups of 3. So next one is selecting a topic. So this will depend on a lot of factors. In my case, I just did it so that I could chill out during the 4 weeks of my electives. Okay, that's the very reason why I'm saying not to take my elective as an example. But otherwise, if you are interested, you can do something from your postgraduate interest as an elective, such as Mihidini, who's going to present in next. And then otherwise, you can do it as a part of a travel experience, as Mahesh did. And otherwise you can actually, like as I mentioned, you have to, like the topic that you do under your electives should be something that is not covered in your undergraduate curriculum. For example, I've had seniors who had done on neurosurgery, but their research elective was elective project was based on things that are not covered in under the specific objectives of the neurosurgery appointment in your clinical sciences stream. Okay, so it should be beyond that. So it's important that you take that into mind, because if you do after you present your proposal, if your objectives are in stuff that are inside your clinical rotations and clinical science stream, there's a very high likely chance that your proposal will get rejected and you will have to resubmit again. So take that into your mind. And and the other thing is, you have to avoid repeating your topics from your seniors. This is the same as what you did for your research. You have to not repeat. And then research. So basically, in the past, there have been instances where learning to make a cake or getting your driver's license was also considered as an elective, which is not the case now. Also, in the past, there were instances where there were gold medal vivas for your electives. At the end, you were given a gold medal for the best elective. That is not the case true here as well. So those are two extremes of electives. Here at the like in the current curriculum, it's midway, where you can't do your license thing for your elective. No, you won't get a medal for your elective. So it's important that you weigh your pros and cons and select the topic. And also, so as I was saying, research. So I know that there's a very high chance of people doing research as electives, because that was the case in your senior batches as well as in our batch also. So research per se is not allowed inside an elective. Okay, that's how it goes, because you have your community stream research now, so they don't take research as an elective, but findings from your elective or as a part of your elective studies can be used for publications. For example, you are doing something on in pediatrics. There was a senior who did elective in pediatrics, and there were certain case reports, like rare incidences of certain syndromes, that they presented as case reports. So that means that the elective was not a research, but findings coming out of it were used in order to present case reports and stuff like that. Then selecting a supervisor. So that again depends on how tedious you are going to be in your 4 weeks. And how relevant your topic is to your supervisor. So obviously, if you are going to do your elective in plastic surgery or something like that, thoracic surgery, something like that, that's inside the hospital, in a hospital setting. So obviously, that consultant that you're going to be working under will be your primary supervisor for obvious reasons. But then there are certain other cases where you are free to select your elective supervisor. So in that case, you have to choose someone who is freely available. That's very important, because as I go on, I'll explain that there are certain things that need to be done in liaison with your supervisor, and there needs to be feedback. So if it's a very strict supervisor, there's a very high chance that you get marked low. So that will affect your electives report. So you have to understand that fact as well. And as I mentioned, selecting topics in the curriculum, it should be outside your undergraduate curriculum, because for obvious reasons that I mentioned previously. Overseas electives, so this will be dealt in detail by Maheshi, but mainly what I need to say is something that she will not be addressing is that there are foreign universities who allow observerships as electives, or where you can go abroad, where you can apply for a university. For example, you can apply for Deakin or Oxford or something like that, and then they will give you a particular time period where you can go there and do your elective under a certain supervisor. But what is most important that you have to consider is that elective application is extremely hard and it's extremely tedious, because it's similar to an applying to a job. You have to give your CV, you have to present your publications, how impactful you are in the faculty as well as in the scientific community. You need to prove that, because there are very limited slots. slots available in those universities, and also you have to fund yourself. And then the other thing is you have to apply at least 1.5 years before. So that might be a bit too late for you for the 18ers, but even for the 19ers and 20, you will have to check very well in advance in with regard to the university that you are going to apply to, the field that you are applying to, the hospital, and everything, all the minor details before you apply to. And one other thing is, even if you apply as such, there is a very high chance that the electives period will be changed. For example, our electives was originally scheduled for May and June, but it was shifted to August. So if you in liaison with the university, you have selected your elective and applied and got selected and fixed the time. If the electives department changes it, you will have to cancel that. Cancels the overseas elective. That happened to one of the seniors from the 2016 batch. He was supposed to do an orthopedics trauma unit based one in the UK, and there was some visa issues as well as elective period issues. So because of the non-overlapping thing, he had to cancel it. So that because, and the other thing is, overseas electives are very costly. There was one student from our batch who applied for interventional radiology in USA. It costed around 11 lakhs for the elective per se. So not just for the elective. So you have to choose very wisely if you're going for overseas electives in liaison with universities. When it's personal associations, Mahesh will go into detail. So then when you have chosen the topic, then what you have to do is make an electives proposal. So in the electives proposal, you have to choose the topic, give an introduction, something like a literature review, very short one, not a 15 to 20 page literature review, and then give clear objectives of what you're going to achieve at the end of the thing, similar to something that you did in your research project, and then plan activities plan activities for your objectives. For example, I did a dental one, and I did one on community dentistry, and I was like, I had to add planned activities such as going to an MOH office and seeing what the community preventive oral health facilities are, how they are provided, how often are they followed up, and stuff like that. And then there had to be a Gantt chart for obvious reasons, just like for your research, but that Gantt chart should be scheduled into your 4 weeks. And the electives proposal is 250 to 300 words, but there is obviously chance for you to expand beyond. But that will depend on your supervisor as well as your invigilator. For example, now as you present your electives, it will be read and examined by a third person that is allocated by the electives department. So if they think that you have exceeded the count or you have not expended fully, they will ask for revisions. That happened for one of our student colleagues from our batch, where he did one on patient-based thing, like a community study, and the supervisor, so the invigilator, was not satisfied with the literature review, and when they said that they were trying to restrict to the word count, she was like, you can go ahead and explain as much as possible and resubmit. So that resubmitting is again a tedious process. You have exams and stuff now, so you can't commit yourself entirely for the proposal per se for weeks ahead now. So you have to think of that as well. But basically, that is the word count. 300 is the word count. So this is my project proposal. So I just gave an introduction of what it is, and then general objective and specific objective similar to your research, what you do in your research, and then propose activities for your, based on your objectives, you have to make up some proposed activities. So the proposed activities should be arranged into the Gantt chart so that they know that you are not left free. Obviously, I did my electives for only 2 days, but my Gantt chart says that I was engaged throughout the month. That's the whole point of it. And then at the end, you have to give a ERF. That's an elective submission form with the proposal to the department. So there you have to give your primary supervisor signature with the details and everything. And in cases where your primary supervisor is not a medical doctor, or someone who is not engaged into the directly engaged with the medical curriculum, you will have to have a secondary supervisor as well, who will be someone from the department or someone from the faculty. For example, if you are doing cake baking, which is not an elective, your cake instructor is not directly affiliated to the medical curriculum, no? So then you will have to obviously get another person from the faculty. And then this is how your results will be. They'll accept with changes, without changes, with major changes, or if we are extremely unfortunate, it will be rejected. And then you go on to the project itself. So there you have this will be provided by the department. You have to have a reflective book. So this has 1 to 30 days. So like how we are going to fill it is up to you. But basically this should be something that you spare yourself and stick to the Gantt chart, complete all the objectives and the planned activities. So if you are able to finish that, then you're safe. And then at the end of the during the last 2 weeks or so, you're supposed to write a report on what you learned during your research the electives project. So that electives report is the one that you are going to submit to the department, and which will be assessed on, which I have not been assessed up until now. I don't know how much marks I got, but basically that's how it is. So you that also has a word count of 1000 with references and everything. So this is where you have to be very clear about your research and stuff, because if you have done research, you have to add it into this report, and also when you're going to publish it, you have to give acknowledgements to the electives department. But otherwise you don't need to add the electives report per se into this. If you want, you can add annexures. As annexures, you can add the studies that were brought out from the electives. So this is my electives report. So it's just an evaluation and description of what I've done during my electives 4 weeks, and the things that I obtained and the limitation that I had gone into while engaging in the electives project, and the annexures. So one other thing that I forgot was that I said that there was it's usually restricted to two people, but in exceptional circumstances you can go into 3 people. That is where your electives proposal is able to explain to an acceptable extent that the workload within the elective is not satisfiably completed by means of 2 people. For example, if your project is too big to be completed by 2 people, then you can explain that we need 3 people, and then you can get in 3 people. But it's very rare. Only one group in our batch were able to do it with 3 people, and you have to go into detail why you had to do with 2 people, sorry, 3 people. So before going into Mahesh's, Mehdine's and the others sessions, if you have any questions regarding like an overall thing, you can ask now. And anyway, if this question that you ask is relevant to one of the 2, I'll pause it here, and then they'll answer them when they come onto the stage. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
I have one question. Like it should be like the elective should be beyond our curriculum.
Yes.
So does it have to be anything health related?
Yes. It has to be. That's the reason why getting a license and cake making is not included. That's because it has to be related. For example, people have done on Ayurvedic medicine, and then people have done on dance, yoga, art, but then they have affiliated it with regard to mental and psychological health, dance with regard to physical health, yoga with regard to psychological and physical health. So you have to somehow, in the proposal, you have to show that it's related to health, like there is some medical relevance. If not, it has to be directly in the bulk of medicine, but outside our undergraduate curriculum.
So when they are assessing, like do the invigilators come from a specific department?
No, it's completely random. I got Ravindra sir as my invigilator, and so I passed. It's basically based on luck. So it's a random allocation. So if you get a cool one, you can go like out of we had 13 submissions for sir. All 13 were accepted without changes. But there were some cases where some were rejected, some were with major revisions, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, obviously. You choose your topic, you choose a supervisor, you make a proposal with the ERF form, you provide the proposal to the department, then they decide whether it's accepted. If it's accepted, you go into the 4 weeks. So everything happens before the 4 weeks. In the 4 weeks, you make the logbook and complete the report and then submit it. Okay, so then I'll invite Maheshi Bandara and Mehidini. Mehidini Hapuarachi from our batch to present her electives.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Can you all at the back? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. If it's not clear, just let me know. I'll repeat. Can't hear. I can't show. Okay. So, don't get scared looking at this topic. Okay. So it's not that hard to understand once I explained it to you. So, hello everyone. You all. For those who don't know me, I'm Nidhini Hapwarachi from 2017 year level batch. Sorry, I was unable to prepare a presentation because it's proper. Pudu doesn't count, he has psychiatry. They are chilling. So, yeah. So, this is my elective report. I will be just telling you why I chose this. As Pudu said, electives in other countries, foreign countries, has a very a good weight in the entire degree of yours because that mainly determines what you're going to do afterwards. So, in our faculty, the issue is we get electives right before the professorial. So, you can't spend much of your time and effort into doing electives because you have to study for the professorial. You can choose to drown in your work like I did and not study for the professorials, but I strictly advise you not to because you have to study for prof, and that's the most important thing. And why I chose this was I like genetics. I don't know why. Don't ask me. The lecturers, that's not the reason. Like all the lectures and embryology genetics we have had so far, I know doesn't quite increase your interest in genetics, but yeah, but genetics is interesting for me, and. So I said, I approached Vajirasa because he's my personal tutor. And then he's like approachable. You can talk to him if you want to do genetics. So I told him that I want to do something related to genetics for my electives. And he said, I'll connect you with Dineshani madam. And then you all know Dineshani madam. Like she's one of the sweetest person there is. So yeah, she's a very good supervisor. I'm very lucky to have her as my supervisor. And before going on to my electives, I have to add something to Pumudu's talk that there are some programs in few foreign countries that allow you to work, go there, work there for fully funded. There are some scholarships, fully funded scholarships like internships for 1 month, 6 weeks basically. So before applying to something before I thought of doing it in Sri Lanka, I checked the internet, and then actually when you search, it comes. There are so many things that you can apply for in so many fields. So there are fully funded scholarships. But the issue with our faculties, they changed everything in the last minute, so you can't apply for them. I actually applied for one in Japan, which I didn't get selected to, because actually these things are very highly competitive and you have to have a very good CV in order to get selected to in such things. I didn't get, but even if I got, I wouldn't be able to go because our elective schedule was changed last minute. So, but then only I approached Bajira sir, and they when I talked with Dineshani madam, she said, now since I needed some help, like I checked whoever did genetics research from our senior batch, you can do the same. Like you can check, like once you realize what you are going to do, in which field that you are going to do. So you can check whether someone from our batch or senior batch, whether someone did it. So this kind of similar thing was done by Minuraya to 2016 batch. I approached him, asked what he did, and then whatever he did was something similar to this, but we did something similar but different. So it's easier to get a reference from their reports and also everything. Otherwise, creating everything de novo is hard. So I read it, kind of changed it a bit, and then put it into my report. That's what I did. So, and my report was on like there's this thing called next generation sequencing in diagnosing diseases in genetics. Okay, we don't need to know those stuff as a medical undergraduate, but if you're interested, you can search. Next generation sequencing is basically splicing up genome parts and then searching for the diseases like specific mutations in the genome. And then there are things called exomes and introns. I don't know whether you remember from your biochemistry. So there are so exomes are the ones that differ us from each other as a, like, even though we are in the same species, all of us have like different things. All of us are unique. So exomes are the ones that make us unique, which has so many genes. And now now they have this thing called whole exome sequencing, where you can splice the entire exome of one person and then scan it and see whether there are specific mutations. That's a very, very simple version of what I did. So there's something called rare diseases also. In order to a disease to be a rare disease, it has to have a percentage less than 0.5%. These are all technical details. You don't need to know. I'm just explaining the topic, otherwise you'll get scared, because even I didn't understand in the beginning. Now only I know what's the meaning of it. So what I did was whole exome sequencing. I took it as a test, and I checked the efficiency of the whole exome sequencing in diagnosing rare diseases. So our main target was, can you go to the next slide? This is very crowded because this is my report, this is not a presentation. Next, and yeah. So what we wanted to do was initially what I wanted to do was research on next generation sequencing and whole exome sequencing. But in the electives department, they said we are not allowed to do research. So then we were supposed to like introduce our project in the proposal as a learning experience, where we go to the genetics unit, learn what is being doing there, what has been done there so far, and then as a part of my electives project, I will do a tiny research. That's what I did. So if you want to do research, if you are enthusiastic in doing research as your like future career pathway, if you can do that. You can choose a place that you can go and study, and then as a part of your research, like part of your project, you can do a tiny research. I did one, but the thing is, there's no time once you go to professorials to write everything down, so it's not like finished. So and the other things that I wanted to tell was why I choose this, how to find a supervisor. So make sure if you are doing something that is related to your future career pathway, it holds a good value to it, because you're going to put this into your curriculum vitae, and if you're going abroad, they take curriculum vitae very seriously. Series, you need to work on it. If you're doing stuff in the faculty, add everything to it, all the extracurricular and academics to your CV, and these stuff, medical elective and the research you do are very important aspects in your CV. So make sure you choose something that sounds great but is actually easy to do. So what I learned was doing this. We went to like, just can you go to next slide? Yeah. So we went to the cytogenetics lab and then karyotyping processes. Yeah, go on. Molecular genetic lab sessions. We had so many lab sessions, which is in the faculty, the human genetics unit, and they were fun actually. So since I like genetics, I had fun. So make sure you choose something that you like. And after that, we got details. We got permission from the faculty, to use the that database that they already have, and got details from it, and we created a database of ourselves where we phenotypically categorize the genetic variants that has been done, found significant so far. This sounds like a lot of work. It is actually. So it was very hard. So make sure you research on what you are doing beforehand. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot of your time, and it won't be a waste. But since you are supposed to finish your medical degree first, and professorial is very important, and you don't have time to study at all, so make sure you don't spend your entire electives period dedicated to electives only. So you have to keep some time for you for studies as well. So can you, yeah, these are basically the things that we learned. Move on, next slide. Next. So so during our electives, this was not something included in our proposal. But Vajra sir came into the clinic and said, we have this nephrogenetics cohort, why don't you all do a research on it? And we were like, so we have already a lot of work to do, but the thing is, he's the dean. We can't say no. So we had to do it. So we did a lot of extra work on during our month also. And in the end, we were asked to do a presentation on nephrogenetics cohort study that we did. This is the presentation. We never got to do it because we carefully managed to slip away from them, telling that we have this and that. We escaped, but we had to make the presentation and send it to them. So in this presentation, we just found the disease spectrum of nephrogenetics. We choose three cases: case 1 Gieselman syndrome and Alport syndrome, and Lowe syndrome, and we check the diagnosis. This was these are the I think that this sounds very alien to you because you are not familiar with these syndromes and all. It actually sounds like a very high-fi stuff. It's not. It's just takes time, but it's easy to do. So I'm just basically talking from my experience. So while you are doing your elective, that is that is in your preferred field, you may get chances for like this to present your findings. Make use of it. I'm telling, if you are not used to presenting in a academic community, if you have never presented your research or never published it in a conference or anything, you can use these sort of chances to hone your presenting skills. So that's what I wanted to tell you. During that elective period, you get a lot of opportunities to hone your research skills, to do presentations, to learn a lot of stuff. And then I had to basically go through Rohan's book again. Yeah, the one we used in first year. You remember the red colored book? So yeah, which refreshed my memory and all that. Even though it's like not necessary for the professor areas and all, it was fun. And cons was like these type of academically targeted electives take a lot of time. That's what I want. That's what I said earlier also. It's very time consuming and it's very tiring also because the database we created, can you go to next slide? No, it's like, yeah. So this was very big, so we had to put it in the other way, otherwise it will not fit in the paper. We basically sorted out 200 cases that had been diagnosed as positive from the whole exam sequencing, which yielded rare diseases results. And then we categorized them into different phenotypes. It was very hectic. And then before we started it off, we just said we will help with the preparing the database, and then in the end we had to do it entirely by ourselves. And it's still not over, so now we don't have time to even look at it. So make sure you're very careful with your wordings when you talk to the supervisors. When you say like we will help with it, say what extent you're going to help to. If not, otherwise you'll end up doing it entirely. This is actually, I can present this as a research to somewhere, but since I still didn't finish it, I couldn't present it also. So they are good opportunities. The thing is, the timing of our elective is not very helpful to do all this stuff. So that is like, I don't think learning what I did in my research is going to be helpful for you because it is very specific for me. I like learning. So you can do whatever you are planning to do in your future, and make sure that for the take-home message from my session is when you're choosing a topic, make sure that is relevant. Make sure you're choosing a supervisor who's friendly, who you can talk with, and who will not give you extra work. And then make sure that whatever you are doing is going to look good on your CV. Because in the end, that is how you're going to present it to everyone else in the world. When you're presenting your CV, only when they will get to know whatever you have done. So it should look good on your CV, and yeah, basically that's it. And you should have fun. Make some time for studies as well, and have fun. If you have any questions, you can ask. I hope I didn't scare you off with all this highly technical. So it's not highly technical actually. Once you get like used to those terms, it's not that hard. So I hope all of you are thinking I'm not going to do something like that. I'm just going to chill. But once you get out from the medical faculty, if you're going to do lab and like go to USA and UK and like stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not thinking of migrating as per now, but if you are thinking of migrating from now on itself, just make sure you do something that is valuable, so you can present it to whatever country you're going to. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can ask them. Any questions? Goodbye.
So good afternoon, everyone. Let me take you through our elective. This is, I have to tell you that this is a very chill elective that you can do. So you don't need like any like hi-fi technical knowledge or anything to do this, because, but you just have like you just need the passion to do something like this. So we chose dance as our electives because both of us, like me and my colleague Sadhini was the other one, and we both were really interested in doing dance, and so we just wanted to do something that we like, and then we related it to medicine and did the elective. That's what happened actually. So not only dance, there are several topics that once you are doing the electives, the medical humanities department will suggest you some topics, and you can either choose one topic from them, and they will appoint you a supervisor as well. Or else, if you have something that you like to do which is not there in the list that they have that you have been given with, so you can do something like that, and then you have to choose a supervisor. And there are lots of supervisors available in the medical humanities department, and almost all of them are very helpful, and they are not that strict, so you can like talk with them, and you can call them whenever you want, and they will help you for anything that you are going to do. Okay, so to tell you why we chose dance, it's basically because it was our passion, and we just wanted to chill around the period that we were given in the midst of a busy schedule. So anyway, if we were given free time, both of us might be doing dance, so that there was no difference. And so first of all, because as you are relating what you are doing into the medical field, first you have to do some research. Otherwise, you when you are making the project proposal and the report, it will be difficult for you, because if you haven't related it to the medical field, there will be problems for you. So first of all, you have to do some research and find out how the thing that you are going to do is related to the medical field. So that's the first thing that you have to do. And then actually, our supervisor was Dr. Santusha madam, and she was very helpful. And we were very lucky because she found the secondary supervisor, Mr. Lakshan, who is a dancing teacher who teaches at Sussex College. And she was the one who introduced him to us, and then he took us around some classes where each and every style of dancing is taught, and then we could like participate in those sessions. And after that, we practiced, and no, we didn't practice actually, but we after coming here, we choreographed one dancing routine for us, and that was a separate one for us. And then after that, we recorded ourselves doing the following the routine, and then we created a YouTube channel and uploaded that video to that YouTube channel. And after that, while making the report, we just had to first we do in every elective report there are some components which should be included, so we included those components. And after that, we included some pictures of us doing those poses and everything. And then we inserted a barcode. Next slide, can yeah, okay, it's not. And a barcode to anybody who can who wants to have a look at our YouTube channel, they can scan it, and then they can get access to the YouTube channel. So those are the things. And if I'm telling you the challenges, like if you are doing something like this, first of all, you have to have the passion. And even if you have the passion, you have to have some sort of a skill to do that. Otherwise 1 month won't be enough for you to learn something new. Like sometimes it might be enough, but make sure that if you are learning something new, the time period would be enough for you to learn it. Or else if you are having some skills, you can improve them, and you can enjoy. So challenges were that, and like I'm not myself and the other one also not were not very good in like making those YouTube channel and technical stuff. So we had those problems while creating that and everything. But if you are like normally an average person, I should have that knowledge. So it doesn't matter, I guess. Next slide. So these are some of the photos that I put in my project report. So if you want to have a look at, you can scan this and get what is screenshot of that. Next slide. So that's this is something that you can chill, but I mean you can chill throughout the appointment. I mean throughout the electives, and then if you have something that you have missed in academics, you can cover up them. So no, like we went on like 3 to 4 days to the practice and participate in those the dancing sessions, and then we took about 2 days to choreograph the dancing workout, and then like 1 day to record it. So and then it took us about 2 days to make the proposal and do the technical stuff, and then we finished our electives thing. And some of my friends had done a storybook which contained like a children's storybook, and it was really nice. Like after doing the electives, you have some sort of a result, like you have a tangible result that uh, you can have a tangible result. So yeah, that is very like inspiring and like and so Santosha madam was our supervisor, and the Mr. Lakshan was the second supervisor, and he was very helpful, and he took us like to many classes where they conduct different styles. And Gihani and Vindhya were the ones who suggested me, because I didn't know that something like this we can do for electives. So they are the ones who suggested me to do this. So I should be thankful to them also. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalita. Next, we have Maheshi Bandara to present her elective on the role of general practitioners in the primary healthcare system in Australia.
I also couldn't get done a presentation, so I'm going to use my elective report to show you something. And first of all, I have to apologize for my dress code. Recently, only I got to know that sandals are not allowed. But the thing is, I have a small issue in my foot, so apologizing for my dress code, first of all, because there are people from the yeah. So yes. So today, when I want to talk about now, I think Mihidin talked about her elective program. Charita talked about her his elective program, and we did something not in Sri Lanka. We did something abroad. So I think that's what makes it like different from other elective programs. So first of all, I'll tell why we choose this program. So when I first heard of this elective program, which is happening in the Colombo Medical Faculty, I don't think so. There are other medical faculties who are doing the elective programs. So when I got to know, the first day I got to know there's an elective program that is happening in our faculty, and there's a chance that you can do it abroad. I wanted to do it abroad because of that experience. I wanted that experience where I can experience a different healthcare system, where I can go and see what is happening there, and how it is going to different from our setting, and what are the new advancements, and how are they going to manage patients. All these things I wanted to see. I wanted to see those stuff, and most of all, I wanted to have some fun and travel and see the world. Okay, so actually when it comes to our, like, the medical students, when we get out from the faculty, we are like 27, 28, right, at that age. And when we if we plan to go and see world after doing all our studies and family and everything, you will be going like at age of 50s or 60s. Okay, so if you have that capacity and go and see the world, and if you're getting a chance like this in your curriculum, under your curriculum, then it's better to go and see the world. It's all right if you have that capacity. Okay, so so that's why I wanted to do it abroad. So when I got to know that our elective program is uh, scheduled to be happen in this year May and June, I first of all I contacted the seniors. So I'll be going in the order that I went through in my elective program. So first of all, I contacted our seniors who did elective programs abroad. So thankfully there was Supuniaki from 2016 batch. She did her elective program in Australia. So I was able to go to Australia because I have I have accommodations there. So that is the only place that I could go. So I was seeing for something that I can do in Australia. So thankfully she had done her elective program in there. So I talked to her. So that's why that's when I got to know what can I do when if I'm going to do an elective program in abroad. So then I went to my personal tutor and the chairperson of the elective program and got information from them, like the lecturers, what I can do. Okay, so when you are thinking of and doing an elective program abroad, you can most of the time you can do whatever you are doing in your curriculum, because whatever you are under your curriculum, because those whatever you do under your curriculum here, it is going to be different in another country. So as you see now, general practice, I think we also go for a clinical appointment, like under our short appointments we go for a general practice, family medicine, like we are just doing nothing, just going and seeing patients, that's it. Some people don't go also. So so no, people go, but yeah. So in that case, in general practice, so under our curriculum, general practice is there. So we are studying that in under our curriculum. But if we are going to another country and seeing that process, it is different. So in that case, whatever under your curriculum, it can come up if you can do it if you are doing it abroad. So in that case, so in general practitioner's role, we did, we were able to do it. And as likewise, there were some, when we went through the seniors topics, there were some other topics like trauma management, accident service management in other countries. There were some topics that seniors were supposed to do. So those kind of topics can also be done abroad, but not the kind of things like uh, medically related stuff. You can't, like this entertainment and stuff, you can't do it outside the country, because it should be something related to like directly related to medicine. So in that case, as Pumudu said previously, there are university based programs and personal association based programs. So university based programs, as Pumudu said, it is if you can get a chance, it's a very good thing, but it is very hard. What you can do if you have the capacity to go and do an elective abroad is that you can get a personal association based thing, which you can get arranged. So what I did was I contacted a general practitioner in Australia, and that's how I got him as my supervisor. So that's how I got to talk to him and get arranged my elective program. So in that case, whatever you're going to do, the topic that you're going to do, it's up to you. So whatever your interest is there, you can do that topic. But when you're planning an elective abroad, you should be vigilant, because now when you're making the proposal, you have to give your objectives and what are the things that you're going to do to cover those objectives. So whatever you're mentioning in the proposal, it should be covered within your elective program. So if whatever you're putting in the program, you should be able to cover it. Now, not like if you are doing it something in Sri Lanka, you will be able to, like, after your elective period is over also you can go and do it. But it's not like it's not it's not same with the elective doing in abroad. Once you come, you can't go and do it again. So whatever you're going to do, you have to have objectives which are achievable and practical, because we don't know, like, once we go there only we know what is happening there, because so many people will say a lot of stuff, this is possible, that and this, everything that they will be saying. But in our capacity, we are once we get there only we can get to know what is possible for us. So when you are setting objectives for whatever the topic that you're going to choose, make sure those are achievable, and which can be covered during your elective period. And don't make it messier, like you're now, unlike other the elective programs that you're going to do here, which are like very cost friendly, these electives will be very costly. So you are going to spend so much money and go there, and if you can't get your job done properly, then it is going to be a waste. And at the same time, if you're going abroad, just don't take that whole time for study, like, get some time for traveling and exploring and all these other stuff, because you need that, because these 4 weeks under our curriculum, they are giving this elective period to explore things as well. So whatever you do, we must be able to enjoy. So in our case, we contacted our supervisor and we agreed on a topic. And according to the availability of whatever the facilities, the setting, and his schedule and our schedule, and accommodation, transport, everything, only we got our objectives lined up. So these objectives, like, you don't have to have a lot of objectives. It's just, as you say, next. Yes. As you see, there's only 4 specific objectives, and those are very simple ones. So don't make when you're making proposal also, you have only like a small proposal. So when you're making objectives also, like, make it simple, which are achievable. Okay. And when you're choosing your supervisor, now as you're going for a foreign supervisor, like, ideally you don't have to have a supervisor from the faculty. Your primary supervisor can be the person who you are contacting abroad, and but that person should be a medical person, ideally consultant. You can't just contact a medical officer, like in Sri Lanka, like, medical officers, there are also people who are doing, like, just doctors. You can't just go for a doctor. It has to be a consultant. So make sure whatever the country you're going to apply your, like, you're going to do the elective, the supervisor, he should be a consultant. He or she must be a consultant. And that person should be associate with the institution, because there are some supervisors, like, your relations, friends might say, there's a doctor I know, that's how you get to know the like, get connections, right? So whoever the person you are like, the supervisor, he or she must be associate with an institution, like, like a public or a government hospital. He must be working there, and he must be like a permanent worker there. Because I got to know that when I contacted our chairperson in the elective program is Dr. Dineshani, and she told, when it comes to when they are going through our proposals, they see who is the supervisor, because there's a slot for them to sign and do stuff. So when they see the supervisor, they particularly see who is the supervisor, and is he a proper one, like a recognized person. And I think Professor Shalini, like, she specifically sees for that person's institution whether that doctor is allocated to a special institution or not, because there are these freelancing doctors, right? So they are not allowed in this elective program. So when you're selecting your supervisor, just make sure that person is a certified and a recognized person, consultant preferably, and who is associated with the institution, because that can be a problem, because if you're going to at the mid of your elective program, if you have to change your supervisor, then you have to change the whole thing from the very beginning. So make sure you are going for a proper supervisor. Then after that, whatever the then after that you are making your plans with your supervisor, then you can have a setting. So like in our case, we went to clinics, like we did general practice, so in Australia, general practice, it's mostly GP centers. They're based on GP centers, and the public, there are public and private hospitals, and public hospital, now in hospital settings, I'll tell you about the hospital settings. So what we did was we went to clinics, like GP centers with clinics, and we were able to visit Dandenong Super Clinic and the Box Hill Clinic, and there was a private hospital called St. John God Berwick Hospital. Those were the places that we were able to visit. So the clinics, all these clinics and specialist centers, they are like they are personal places that they have put up. So when you talk to the CEOs, you can access those places easily. But when it comes to public sector, I'm talking about Australia. I don't know about other countries. So when it comes to public sector, the public hospitals you can't access easily. Even for the medical personnel, there should be you should have proper passes to access the hospital premises if you're not a patient, right? So even for so when you go for abroad electives, don't expect to have a clinical exposure we are having here, right? You can't get that exposure outside, because when it comes to other countries, their patient confidentiality and these privacy issues they take very seriously. Not like us. When we go to the ward, BHTs all over the place. Whoever the person comes can go through that patient's all the details and do whatever they want. But in those countries, that's not the case. Even the counseling, like the consultations it's just for the doctor and the patient. So when you go for elective, now in our case, like we went to GP, but like to see the role of the general practitioners, we were also not allowed to listen to the patient's story during the consultations, but we can talk to the patients outside, but if they are agreeing only. So those restrictions are there. So when you go for the electives outside, if you're not going under like the university-based stuff, then in these scenarios, you can't have that kind of the clinical exposure that you're having here. So don't expect it to happen. It's mostly going to be observations. So keep that in mind. Whatever you make, the objectives, whatever the stuff you do, keep that in mind and make the objectives. And the other thing is, okay, so those are the things I think related to the elective program that I want to talk about. Now, other than the stuff that the technical aspect of the elective program when you're doing in abroad, then there comes another category that you have to have your travel arrangements being done, air tickets and money and all these things comes in to play, because you have to go to that setting, and then only you have to do it. So in our case, we had accommodation there, so we didn't have expenses for that. So if you are planning to go abroad to do an elective, you should have accommodation. So if you have a relation or someone near the area that you're going to do your elective program, then it's better. That expense, it's going to go out. But if it is not, then you have to think about that accommodation, travel, transport. You have to have your own thing. No one is from faculty or whoever here in Sri Lanka is not going to help with your elective program if you're going to do abroad. It's totally up to you. So you have to have that financial support to go abroad. And the other thing is, visa. arrangements, it is going to be different for different countries. So in our case for Australia, it's normally what the people says is it's really hard to get visa for Australia. But the thing is, if you're going to get visa, like in Australian setting, the problem is they get a lot of migrants, so they don't want additional people to come and settle there and not to go back. So what they want is a reason for us to return. So when we say that we are going, like when we prove that we are students of medical faculty, like in a Colombo medical faculty, that reason is a good reason for us to return. So when so when you however, when you're going to apply for visa, I think for every visa applying thing, you have to submit your student confirmation letters. So you can easily get it from the dean's office, and when you submit it, they know that you're going to come and you're going to complete your degree program, so it is not going to be a problem. And other thing is, whatever the visa that going to apply, you should have your documents properly submitted, and there's a visa fee that you have to pay, and you have to have financial stability to go. You have to show those aspects when you're applying for the visa. And most, like for the Australian visa, they ask us to apply 4 months before. But if you apply properly, because this visa issuing stuff happens online, so if you submit your documents properly, you will get your visa very easily and quickly if you submit it properly. Okay, so you have to, because even the missing letters or the changes in your names will get you in trouble. So you have to be very careful about those stuff. And tickets, now air travel is also very costly. So if you can buy your air tickets 3-4 months before, it will be the cost will be less. But till your elective program get started in the faculty, don't go for that and the visa till you get visa, and till this elective program starts in the faculty, don't go and get your air tickets. Because if you don't get your visa, if the faculty makes changes in the elective program, what happened to us, something like that, if happens to you also, then waste of money, you can't exchange it, right? So be careful about those stuff. But other than rather than the electives that you're doing in Sri Lanka, these funds, it's going to be costly. So you have to keep it in mind, and think about doing the electives in abroad. Okay, and all right, so when it comes to our elective programs, go to the last. Yeah. So whatever the topic, last whatever the topic that you're going to do, don't repeat. Now in our case, like I said before, Supanyaka has also done something. She did something related to cardiology aspect of Australian healthcare system, and in her elective program, she has also done something. She has also mentioned something about general practice, because the general practice is the base of the healthcare system in Australia. So when it came to her elective proposal, the invigilators, they have asked her to add that as an additional objective. So in our case, we went into the detailed aspect of the general practitioners. So whenever whatever you're going to do, don't repeat the topic that the seniors have done. If it is so, then you will get trouble when they are reviewing the proposals. So whatever you're going to do, there are aspects that now our topic also, there are some aspects we haven't covered. Now in here also, you can go into different other aspects of the healthcare system, but the problem in these kind of healthcare systems is they are based on GP system. So there are these specialized medicine, like the aspects are very narrow. They are based on like general practice mostly. So whatever you're going to do, you have to talk about the GP practice, then only you have to go and talk about the other specialized field. So I think that's what happened in Supanyakasni. So whatever, I don't know about other countries' aspects, but that's what happened in our thing. So what the thing wanted to see, I was able to witness a different healthcare system which is happening in another country. So it is totally different. They are more systemized, and new medical advancements are there. So, and most of the time there's no this documents, tangible documents. It's all in online set with the databases and stuff. We were able to see it. But in other aspect, there were some issues when it comes to patient interactions, because as I said, confidentiality, privacy, all these stuff, it plays a major role in their healthcare system. So it is kind of hard to get to talk to people, but there are some people who you can talk and get information as patients. So you can do that. And if the even for their medical students also, it's very hard for them to get histories from the patients. So in our case, it's going to be really hard. So it's okay, it's all right. And you can visit and see the hospitals, not the public ones. In our case, private ones we were able to see, because the CEOs, we can talk to them and get permission and access the hospitals. So you can do it if anyone is willing to go to Australia. I am not sure about the other countries. So yes, so those things were there. And most importantly, to travel and have fun, because in we got 3 weeks, no, 3 weeks for the actual elective program, and the last week is allocated for report writing. So the last week you have to do your report writing. The first 3 weeks, I think Pumudu showed the reflective logbook, right? So they have mentioned that if you have a free day, like in Australia, they don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. So don't go and feel Saturdays and Sundays. If there's an invigilator who knows about Australian setting and you have feel Saturdays and Sundays, you're going to get trouble. Okay. So if you get your days off, or if you haven't done anything on the days, you can mark it as there were no work, or those were holidays, because in that setting it was an holiday. You can't do anything. So it's all right. Okay. But make sure you have covered all your objectives throughout those days, but you don't have to do it daily, because they also don't want us to come and interfere with the problem, like the work, right? So our supervisor also, he was like, why don't, like, we wanted to go every day, but he was like, why are you coming? We also didn't do that, electives, you can get some days off. So yes, you can get your days off, but make sure you are going to cover all your aspects. As I said before, you can't go and once you come to Sri Lanka, you can't go and do it again. So whatever you are going to do, just make sure you cover it. And if you can cover more than what you have mentioned in the proposal, you can do it. It's all right. We didn't do it, but Supunyaka did it. So if you can cover more than what you like, if you can experience more stuff in that healthcare setting, you can do it. It's all right, and you can mention it also. In addition to these things, we were able to do this. It's good. That means you have done some extra work, so it's all right. But you have to complete your objectives. Okay. So yeah. So those are the things actually happen in our elective program. Make sure you, as I said before, whatever the elective, now when I talked to one of my seniors in the very beginning, um, what is elective program and what is the importance of elective program, that this senior this particular senior told me, elective program the nangi, that's just 1% ne yoga to uchra mahansi. Okay, I got so disheartened because I was so looking forward for the elective program. Make sure, like, yes, it is 1% in like your whole thing. From your whole thing, it's just 1%. But make sure now, as Mihidini mentioned, some these may the whatever the elective project that you're going to do during these 4 weeks will be something that makes your PG targets, right? That will help you to reach your PG targets. Or if you're going to now doing an elective abroad, if you have any ideas to migrate, then again you can have an idea about what is, is this healthcare system is going to be good for me. You can go and assess by yourself. That is up to you. Okay, so those kind of things you can achieve during your elective program. It's 1%, yes, that's for sure. So don't make it complicated, make it simple, and make time for yourself, because you don't get these kind of an chance in your academic schedule. So make use of it, study as your before professorials, and have fun. Most importantly, have fun. If you can travel, just travel, but complete your work. Okay, so that's what I have to tell you guys. If you have that capacity to go and do elective abroad, do it, because it's a new experience, and sometimes it will make you, like, sometimes whatever the targets that you have, it might change after your elective program. It can be in any way, so I don't know. But in my case, I would say that I am glad that I did my elective program abroad. So hope you guys got something from my presentation, not the presentation, whatever I talk. Any questions before I wrap up the session? Okay, so now the thing is now, in my case, now when I got to know that I have my electives in the end of the 4th year, I made a contact with the supervisor that I want to work with beforehand, before they start the proper elective program in faculty. And I talked to him, and I checked whether I can do do an elective abroad, and what is the topic that I'm going to do, and what are the things that I'm going to do, like just a rough sketch, not a detailed one. Because once you start your this proper elective program in faculty only, then only you can make your proposal, and get your student confirmation letters and letters for supervisors, and all these things those things starts once they start the elective program in faculty. So beforehand, what you can do is, you can find a supervisor, you can talk to that person, see what you can do, what are the topics that you can do, and get your objectives roughly sketched up. That's the only thing that you can do. You can't go for visa applications and travel arrangements. You can't go for that until these people start their work in elective program. So that is the only thing that you can do in that case. Yeah. Yes, because I had a conversation with my supervisor, and I told him, I'm going to come in May, June, but it got changed. Then again, I was able to talk to him, as he was a good person and he was flexible with my whatever the demands that I had. He was all right with me, but it depends on the supervisor. Whoever you are going with, it depends on the supervisor and the availability of their whatever the schedule. Yeah, it's person dependent. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Okay, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Maheshi. Just adding 2 things to what she said, that I couldn't mention that in my talk. it's important that your supervisor, if you're doing an elective abroad, is a consultant and not a clinical fellow. That's the equivalent of an MO. And that consultant cannot be a full-time local consultant. They need to be affiliated to a government thing. Just rephrasing, like putting importance to what she said, because as she said, there's a very high chance of going up and down with the changes and stuff. So it's important. And the other thing is, there are, like, in addition, that's not in the case of Australia, that was the way. In other cases, you need to get a letter of leave. For that, you need to get faculty board approval. So you need to apply beforehand. That process you can ask from the faculty, the dean's office, if you need that. So our last talk is by Yenuli Fernando. She is a student of IMU Malaysia, and her talk is in electives in Sri Lanka, perspective of a medical student from a Malaysian university.
Okay. Okay. So, hi, good afternoon. My name is Yenadi Fernando, and I am currently a third-year medical student studying at the International Medical University in Malaysia. So, firstly, I'd like to thank the organizing committee and the members of the medical faculty research community for giving me the opportunity to make this presentation. And yeah, so I'll start with the presentation. I'll just be making a very, very brief talk on my experience on doing electives here in Sri Lanka. Okay, so before I begin, I'd like to just clarify what exactly is included under the topic of electives in IMU, because it differs quite, there's quite a contrast between the concept of elective there and what's considered to be an elective at the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo. So here we actually have to do a clinical appointment. We have to do something clinical related at a hospital. That is one part of the component. And the other component is a medical humanities posting, where we would have to basically work at some kind of a community-based organization. So that can be anything, again, related to healthcare. It can be an elders' home, an orphanage, a rehabilitation center, maybe like any kind of non-governmental organization that helps to uplift certain individuals who don't have access to healthcare facilities. So these are the objectives that were provided by the university. They're quite broad, but to shorten them a little bit, firstly, it's to apply the basic clinical knowledge and the basic sciences that we've learned during the first few years, and also to develop all the skills needed to interact well with patients and to interact with other members of the clinical team. Here, very brief a few details on the assignments. So we were assessed on, firstly, a reflective essay, and secondly, a supervisor's evaluation form. So this was the percentage, and we had to complete this module with a grade of more than 50% to be able to sit for the end of year examination. And next slide, please. Thank you. So the reflective essay was a 1,500 word essay. We had to basically use this thing called the Gibbs reflective cycle, and based on that, write an essay on our experience. And the supervisor's evaluation form on the next page, was basically just a form filled out by the supervisor, who was either our consultant at the medical board, or it had to be the director or the person in charge at the organization where we did the humanities posting. So there were certain criteria. They had to read through this, and this was available on our e-learning portal, so we could give it to the supervisor and they could assess us accordingly. Next slide. Okay, so I will give a very, very brief talk on where I did my medical humanities posting. So I did it at the Malika Home for Elderly Women. And basically, this is a non-governmental organization that caters to providing support and care to elderly females from underprivileged populations. There's over 100 elderly women present here, and they basically aim to empower them and give them some kind of independence to engage with the activities, and also shelter and care. Next slide, please. Okay, so most of my work was at the Dementia Care Center, where I went and I helped with distributing food during the breakfast and the lunch hours. I also got to engage in certain handicrafts and arts and crafts with them, like making paper figures and interactive games and puzzles. And now moving on to the clinical appointment, which I did at the National Hospital of Sri Lanka. So I applied for this clinical attachment through the electives program that's offered by the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo. So I applied through the website, which is shown here. And I had to fill in an application form on the next page. Yeah. So this was the application form. So I had to enter all my details. I had to get a letter from the university confirming that I'm a medical student and all the details. And also, yeah, so basically once I found this entire process to be actually very, very organized. And it was very streamlined because once I had submitted the documents and made all the relevant payments and received my ID card, which is here, I was able to enter the hospital and the premises and carry out with my elective activities. So firstly, in the medical wards, so I chose to do my elective in the medical wards, and I also did obstetrics and Okay, so now with my experience, the consultants and registrars, the house officers, senior registrars, all the teaching learning activities carried out in the wards were extremely informative, and a huge thank you to all the members of the staff who took the time and effort to carry out these activities. Another thing was that the moment I tell people that I'm a elective student, they assume that I can't speak Sinhala. So they would always ask me, can you understand? Which I mean, I did learn, I did study in Sinhala medium up to my O-levels. So I didn't have any problem with understanding, but if it was someone who was coming from a foreign country for the first time and genuinely could not understand anything that's been said, I feel like the simple effort to just ask them if they could understand is something that goes a long way in making sure that they feel included in the discussion, and that would basically, yeah, just goes a long way, right? And also, the patients were very, very cooperative. Despite being admitted to a medical ward in a hospital, they were still willing to talk and give histories and even sometimes undergo examinations under supervision. And yeah, they were extremely cooperative and very, very nice. And then this presentation next slide would not be complete if I did not give credit to the groups that I worked with. So I worked with A-Level 2020 and also the A-Level 2019 batch. And I have to say that they were very, very friendly and very welcoming. And yeah, if not for them, this elective definitely wouldn't have been what it was. And I wouldn't be the elective student who randomly comes from Malaysia every vacation for an elective. Yeah. And yeah, final slide. I'd also like to acknowledge the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo, for giving me the opportunity to do this elective, Professor Iranga Vijay Vikrama, the chairperson of the international unit, and the staff of the international unit who processed my application, all the consultants and the staff of the medical ward, and each and every patient in the ward. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm open to any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you, Elni. So that winds up the session. If you have any questions that you need to be direct to me, Maheshi, Mihidini, Chalita, or Yenili, you can just go ahead. We have like 1 to 2 minutes before we go on to the next session. Any questions? Yeah. There is at the beginning of your thing, electives program, there is a session that's done by the head chief of the electives department. They give you a handbook with all the details, with the deadlines and stuff. The electives period, deadline for proposals, deadline for the revision after revision, and then the period of electives and the deadline for report. So you have to fit to that. Otherwise, it's all pre-informed. But the thing is, at the last moment, just before they give the handout, they can change. That's the issue.
The objectives for elective program, so is there kind of requirements to be fulfilled in the elective?
No, as long as it fits the prerequisites of the elective, the goals that it is laid out for, you're good to go. But you have to get your supervisor's input to make the objectives. You can't make it alone. You have to do it with your supervisor. So your supervisor has to approve the objectives before you go ahead with the submission of the proposal. Yeah, with regard to the leave, so you know.
So I couldn't mention about as Pumudu said. So if you are going abroad, you have to apply for the leave from the faculty. Wherever you go, you have to inform the faculty that you are going outside the country. So before you go, you have to fill that international leave form. It's available in the dean's office, so you have to fill it. And let them know that you don't have any academic activities and you are going for this elective program. So then there won't be any problem. So mostly make sure that you inform the faculty that you are leaving the country, because it's there. When you're getting your handbook also, it says that you have to, if you're leaving the country, you have to inform your faculty and get the proper leaving, and then only you can leave. Okay, so make sure that you get it done. It's not a very cumbersome thing. You get it. It's all right because you are going for electives, no? So that's all right, but make sure you apply for the leave.
Alone, there was a question that was asked repeatedly from some people at the back also. So up to now, that's a prerequisite, because it's like teamwork is one of the objectives that they expect from the electives. So you need to do it in pairs or in exceptional cases in threes. So when they do the electives introduction, you can ask from the department head, because the department head also changes every year or so. So previously it was Saroj sir and now it's Indika sir. So you can ask from Indika sir if you can, just like there is exceptional cases where you are allowed to do in groups of 3, whether you, under exceptional cases, whether you can do alone. So that at the moment I have not, no one in our batch did alone, and none of the seniors that I know have done alone either. So it's there's just one that is again, it's an exceptional case. So again, under exceptional circumstances you can do, but that's an exceptional circumstance. So you can ask from the electives coordinator. There's just one from our batch. Yeah. You can ask from that, and in the proposal also you have to validify why you are doing it alone. For example, if the university you are doing it abroad only allows one student, then obviously you can go with as a pair, no? So under that you can. Otherwise you can't. Mainly for local ones you can't. Okay then. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Pumudu Veerasekara, Mihidini Hapuarachi, Maheshi Bandara, Chalita Varshavitana, and Yenuli Fernando for coming up here and providing your insights and inputs for us. And can we have a big round of applause for these remarkable people up here? And that's wind up for the session today. And the interbatch general knowledge quiz is going to be held in the same premises, and it will be ready in a short while. So until then, you can visit the exhibition in the next door if you like.